Hi, thanks for your interest in today's demo. My name is John Noonan. I'm a product marketing manager here at Logicworks, and I'm also a certified AWS solutions architect. Today we're going to cover some of the services that Logicworks has to help your organization move to the cloud. We offer these services for both AWS and Azure, but for today's demo, we'll be looking at things through the lens of an AWS migration. The benefits of cloud computing are well established, but a lot of organizations have trouble getting there. Over half of cloud migrations go over budget, so cost is a huge concern. Nearly 60% of organizations moving to the cloud encounter delays when they try to get there, and nearly 90%, which is a staggering number, have confusion with cloud security and compliance and what that means in the cloud. So all these challenges lead to an average migration of 6 to 12 months, which is a really long time. We've surveyed a number of our customers, and we discovered that our average migration time was just over 2 months. That increased efficiency and saved time resulted in a 20% lower cost of migration. Some of our customers took much less time, some took more, but depending on your timeline, we can customize our approach to best meet your needs. So how do we bring this value to our customers? The first way is through experience. We've done over 350 migrations. So this is not our first rodeo. Any problems that you might be seeing for the first time, we've seen literally hundreds of times, and we've solved them. The second way is expertise. We have over 150 engineering certifications, and we undergo 6 annual compliance certifications. So that really just goes to show that cloud know-how is part of our culture here. And because of this expertise, we've been recognized as a leader in AWS's partner ecosystem. We're an AWS premier consulting partner with a migration competency, and we're also an approved subcontractor for AWS professional services projects. In doing this, we've developed a really well-established process. We have a discovery phase, an assessment, a design, a build, and a migration. These can all be done as part of a process, or some of them can be purchased from Logicworks individually. And I'm going to walk you through what each of these components are. So the first step is the discovery phase. This is a really key part of the process. This is when we get to know your business, understand what it is that you do, what your organization's goals are, and we also make sure that we understand your technology, so we know what your applications are supposed to do, who their users are, what their reliability and performance requirements are. We make sure that we understand any security and compliance needs, as well as your cost drivers and how your applications are operated. This is really critical for us laying a successful foundation with you, because we like to make sure that we understand your organization and your applications inside and out, so that we can provide a successful assessment, design, or build. As part of the discovery phase, you'll have a number of in-depth discussions with our engineering team, and we also have developed a questionnaire that really provides a solid foundation on the types of things that we'll discuss. So this is a look at our discovery questionnaire. So we have our questions broken up by category, and these are some of the infrastructure questions that would facilitate discussions with our engineers. So you'll see we get to things like which sites and data centers are hosting your applications and services, or which cloud regions are they in, how sites are connected with one another, how your applications and services are accessed by clients. We'll review any up-to-date documentation you have on your application for things like rack and elevation diagrams, server inventory, or data flow diagrams. We'll also go through performance type questions, so we'll cover things like any workloads that are sensitive to sub-second response times, what your performance baseline looks like for your database layer, and much more. So the key thing to remember here is that we dive into these really individual detailed questions, but it really helps us to understand your organization as a whole. So the next step in the phase is an application portfolio assessment. So this is how we take what we learned about your organization and technology, and we help you answer strategic big picture questions. So we'll help you determine, should you move to the cloud, which cloud service provider is best for you, which core tools and services should your organization use, and how would they be used, and what types of benefits they would bring. We'll also help outline the best way for your organization to get there. So we'll cover application readiness and priority. We will help you determine the best migration order and which techniques work best for your individual applications and workflows. So this is an example of a document that our engineers would present to you as part of an application portfolio assessment. This is a sample of some of the cloud recommendations we make. So you can see in this instance, we suggested that you move to the cloud, that your focus would be on web and database tiers, and that your recommended cloud service provider would be AWS. We'll also cover things like platform recommendations. So here we're outlining a number of the core AWS services, as well as how they would be used in your environment. So here's an example. So we're recommending elastic load balancing. We provide details both on what elastic load balancing is in AWS and how it's accomplished, as well as how it would benefit this individual customer. We'll also cover migration recommendations. So here you'll see we clearly lay out the 6 R's, or the different approaches to migration, and explain them to you. And then we also recommend how which of your applications or workflows is a best match for which approach. Not every customer needs help with these questions and needs an application portfolio assessment. If you already know what the best approach is, we can continue straight from our discovery phase straight through to designing your environment. Once we've aligned on big picture strategy, Logicworks will actually design an environment for you. So we'll provide details on core AWS services, which ones are needed, how they should be configured. We'll cover things like networking, VPCs, and subnets. We'll cover access to your environment through IAM and security groups. And we'll also provide you with a full map of your environment that covers all these services, which regions and VPCs they're in, and how everything is interconnected. So here's an example of our Cloud Solutions workbook. This really acts as a map to the environment that we've designed for you. It covers things like a diagram of your architecture, covers critical details. We get into the VPCs so that you understand how the networking will work in your infrastructure. We cover subnets, which region, what their names would be, go into site or address ranges. We also cover things like load balancers and how they would be configured. And we get into each of the core services that are incorporated into your design. So we'll cover auto scaling, we'll cover EC2, which VPCs they would be in, what instance types are best for you, as well as their operating systems and sizes. And the benefit of this is that it ensures that you have a really deep understanding of how your environment will be built and configured, so that you know all the details once Logicworks has completed a build for you. So the second component of a design is a Cloud Solutions blueprint. This really provides a guide to your environment. It really helps you to understand how Logicworks incorporated your organizational needs, your applications needs, as well as cloud best practices when building your environment. So you'll see we cover things like business overview and strategy, the requirements that were identified, as well as some constraints. We clearly identify what the scope of this design is, so which applications or workflows we've identified as part of this design. We'll provide another diagram of your infrastructure to make sure that it's clearly laid out. And then we'll get into and make sure that you understand how Logicworks built your design for cloud best practices. So we'll cover governance, segmentation, and availability in your environment. Make sure that you understand how your VPCs were designed and how traffic is flowing within your design. We'll cover things like the hub and spoke model, how it works, and what its benefits are. We'll also make sure that we're clearly laying out how we design for availability within your environment. We'll account for disaster recovery, outline some of the approaches, and then clearly outline which approach we're implementing in this design and why it's best for you. and we'll cover much more than that. All right, so once we've confirmed a final design, Logicworks will actually build your environment. So there's a lot of benefits to this. One is that because of our expertise, we'll probably do it faster than you would. And we also utilize a number of best practices when we build. So one is infrastructure as code. This means that we're not taking a manual approach, and we're utilizing custom templates built to your specifications that will really ensure standardization across your environment. And what this does is it provides a security baseline and a baseline of best practices that ensure that you're able to easily spin up resources once Logicworks leaves. We also use the hub and spoke model. This provides centralized management of security, logging, and any other shared services in a management VPC, which is really like a hub and a wheel, and it's connected to individual application VPCs, which are like spokes. The benefits of this is centralization and easy management of access, security, and shared services across your applications. So now that we've built this infrastructure, it's time for you to migrate your applications, code, and data. Our customers take varying approaches with this. Some are able to easily get themselves up and running with little help, while others need a lot more guidance. So we can help in a number of ways. We can recommend third-party migration services if you're having trouble, and we can also help you utilize some of the AWS services available. So if you need a direct line into the cloud from your environment into the cloud's AWS's infrastructure, we can help you configure Direct Connect. If you need help with a large one-time migration, we can recommend and help with Snowball. But either way, we'll definitely make sure that you're able to migrate your application code and data and get you up and running in this environment that we've built. So not only can we help you get on the cloud, but we're also the best operations and managed services company in the business. We've been doing this for over 25 years, and we can provide support for as long as you need us to be there. So we have services that'll make sure that your environment's up and running, like monitoring and 24/7 support, so that if something goes down in the middle of the night, you can stay in bed and Logicworks can take care of it. But we also have services that ensure that your environment is fully optimized. So we have things like data loss prevention, automated patching, backups, and more. Don't just take our word for it. Let's take a look at what some of our customers have said. So Jerry at Spring Venture Group noted that we accelerated their move to the cloud dramatically and referred to us as an expert guide through the jungle of infrastructure as a service, products, and services. Yankee at Carnox noted that we made their migration faster and simpler and pointed out that we help them when they want to build new systems and try new technologies in AWS. If you're interested, you can read both of these case studies on our website. We've built environments for hundreds of customers in many industries like finance, healthcare, and SaaS. Thanks so much for your interest in learning more about how Logicworks can help you migrate. If you'd like to learn more, please contact me at jnoonan@logicworks.com, and I'd be happy to speak with you. Thank you.